Hi guys, welcome back again to my YouTube channel. My name is Ifunaya, and if this is your first time on this channel, you're welcome. I share sewing tutorials on my channel, and so today we're going to be learning how to cut and sew these beautiful kimono jackets that you're seeing on your screen. And if that's something you're interested in, please keep on watching, and please don't forget to subscribe if you've not subscribed, and let's get started. All right guys, so I have this fabric right here that I'm going to be working with, and I have about 2 yards of fabric, and so I'm going to be working with my chalk, my scissors and my tape. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is to fold my fabric into two, as you can see, and after doing that now I'm just going to fold it up again. So now I have my fabric folded into 4 parts, and the 4 points are meeting each other just like this. So I'm just going to arrange them up, making sure that it's equal on all the ends. Alright guys, so now that I'm done with that, the next thing I'm going to do now is to divide my shoulder measurement by 2. And so my shoulder measurement I'm working with is 16 inches, so I'm going to be dividing 16 by 2, and on that edge right there I'm going to be placing it there, and I'll mark 8 because 16 divided by 2 gives me 8. So that's my shoulder point now. So from that point where I marked 8 inches, I would mark the length of the sleeve which I want to work with. So depending on how long you want your sleeves to be, but I want to work with 12.5 inches. So from that point where I mark my shoulder line, I would mark 12.5 inches, and so this is 12.5 inch that I marked right here. So if you want to make yours 13 inches or 14 inches, you can go ahead and mark it, but I'm good with 12.5 inch. Okay guys, so the next thing I'm going to do now is from this top part here, I'll come down by 11 inches, and this 11 inches is the round sleeve that I'm going to be working with. Because this is a kimono jacket, it's not supposed to be very tight on you, so I'm marking 11 inches rather. So if you want yours to be bigger, you can go ahead and mark 13 inches or 14. So I'm good with 11 inches. Okay, so now the next thing I'm going to do now is to divide my bust measurements by 4. Okay, so my bust measurement is 36, and so I'm dividing 36 by 4, and that gives me 9 inches. So from that center fold which we already have right here, I'm going to place my tape, and then I'm going to mark 9 inches. So this is my exact bust measurement. So I'm going to be marking it on this point where we marked our 11 inches. Okay, so after marking 9 inches right there, I'm going to be adding extra 3.5 of an inch, and this 3.5 of an inch is for ease, because you know we're making a kimono jacket and you wouldn't want yours to be very fitted on you. So if you want yours to be bigger than what I'm making currently, you're going to go as far as 5 inches or 4 inches depending. So I marked 3.5 of an inch, and so from that point I'm going to be connecting it to this point which we already marked earlier. So guys, I want us to go over the measurements all over again. So from this point, you are going to mark your shoulder measurement divided by 2. And so this is the point where I marked. And from that point, and you go down to the length of the sleeve that you're working with, which is this point I marked. And from that point, and you come down to the round sleeve that you're working with. So this is what I just marked here. As you can see, it's very loose. So the next thing we already marked was from this point to my bust measurement divided by 4. Okay, so this is the point right here, and so from that point we added extra 3.5 of an inch for ease. Okay, so depending on how big or how small you want your kimono jackets to be. So from this point now, this new point which you already marked, we're going to extend the line all the way down to the end of the fabric. So I'm just taking measurements of what I have on this point, and I have 12.5 of an inch. So I will just mark 12.5 of an inch all the way down on this fabric. So after marking 12.5 of an inch, I'm just going to make use of my chalk to extend the line, as you can see. And from that point now, I just gave it a curve to meet that point. And so on this other point right here, we're just going to be placing our tape on the center fold, and then we'll mark 3 inches. And that 3 inches is going to be the width of the neckline we are working with. Okay, so after marking 3 inches now, from that same point, I will place my tape on the top part, and then I'll come down by 1 inch, and that 1 inch is going to be the depth of the neckline we are working with. So after doing that now, I'll just connect both lines together. So guys, now it's just time to cut out the neckline, and after cutting it out, we'll come over to this other side as well and cut out what we marked out on the fabric. After cutting, realize that this this top part here, which is going to be serving as our shoulder, doesn't have any opening, and so we're just going to be working with it like that. Okay, so now I'm just going to open it up like this, and I want to mark out the opening which is going to be on the front part of the jacket. So what I'm doing now, I'm placing the both sleeves area together, making sure that they are equal, and on this other side of the jacket I'm also doing the same thing. Okay, so now on this point right here, this is the center point of the sleeve area. So now what I'm just going to do is from this point right here, I'm going to come in by 1.5 of an inch. Also, I'll mark it on this point right here. Okay, so from this top part now, I will come down by 10 inches. You can come down by 11 inches if you want, and so I'm just going to connect both points together with my ruler. So after marking the 2 points together, I'm just going to use my scissors to cut it out like this, and then I'm going to open up this other part. Just watch carefully to see how I'm going to cut it out. Alright guys, so now that I'm done cutting it out, you can see what it looks like. So we already have our opening in front of our jacket. So I'll come to this sleeve area and I'll go back to my sewing machine, and then I'm going to fold up this area twice like this, and so I'll do the same thing for the other sleeve as well. Okay, so guys, after folding it up, you can see this is what it looks like. It looks very neat. Okay, so now the next thing I'm going to do now is to fold it up like this, making sure that the two ends of the sleeve are meeting each other. So now I'm just going to arrange it up properly, and I'm going to make sure that all the sides are equal, and so I'll go over to my sewing machine, and then with 1/2 of an inch I'm going to stitch it up from this point all the way down to the end of the jacket. Okay, and so I'll also do the same thing for the other side as well. And so now that I'm done stitching it up with 1/2 of an inch, you can see this is what it looks like. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do now is to attach my band on this opening area of my jacket. So I'm going to be making use of this part which we cut out while I was cutting out the jacket. So I'm just going to fold it up like this, and then I'll mark 2 inches as I folded it like this. So I'll make sure that it's 2 inches all the way from the top to the end. You can make it 3 inches, you can make it 2 inches, depending on how big you want your band to be. Okay, so now I'm just going to be cutting it out, and because this is actually a very small fabric, I'm going to be cutting about 3 or 4 of them, because I'm going to join them to make it a very long band. Okay guys, so now that I'm done cutting, I'm just going to go over to my sewing machine. With 1/2 of an inch, I will stitch them up together, so I'm going to have a very long band just like this, and this is what it looks like after I was done. So now it's time to attach it to the jacket. So what I'm just going to do now is to fold it up like this, as you can see, and so I'll get my jacket, and on this point where we have our opening, I'll place it like this, and I'll go over to my sewing machine, and then I'm going to make use of 1/2 of an inch to stitch it up from this point right here all the way around to the other end of the jacket. So at this point, I'm done attaching my band to my jacket. You can see it looks very neat. I also went ahead to fold up this down part of my jacket. It looks very neat as well, and then I also gave it a very good ironing. You can see it looks very neat, and the finishing is actually very good. So now the next thing you're going to do is to go back to your weaving machine if you have one. So you're going to weave this part where we join our band to our jacket, as well as the inside part of the dress which we joined. We're just going to weave it up properly. Okay, so now that we're done with that, now we've come to the end of this tutorial video. Thank you so much guys for watching. I hope you found this video very helpful, and please don't forget to subscribe if you've not subscribed, and if you have any question you can leave it in the comment section. I'll be there to answer your questions. Thank you so much guys, and I'll see you all in my next one. Bye.